She joked, no human could find the sacred flower. He proved everyone wrong. Space was quiet. Not peaceful quiet, the kind of quiet where something is waiting. On the edge of human territory, far from Earth and its busy cities, there floated a small research station named Vega 12. It was built to study starlight patterns and gravitational waves. The people living there were scientists, engineers, and their families. They laughed, shared meals, argued about small things, and looked out of the station windows at the endless galaxy. They were not soldiers. They never needed to be. For almost 80 years, humanity had known peace across the stars, but peace never promises forever. The first sign, the quiet ended when a single alert tone echoed through the main control room. Beep. Beep, beep. Sensor Officer Maya leaned forward, frowning. She adjusted the screen. Then again, that can't be right. She expected a meteor cluster, or a drifting satellite, or a trade ship. What she saw instead turned her hands cold. 30 unknown warships. Silent, dark, moving with perfect formation. No ID code. No communication. No known engine signature. They were coming straight toward Vega 12. Maya whispered, "Commander, you need to see this." Commander Ellis, a calm man who had seen many strange things, walked in slowly. But when he looked at the screen, his face changed. His calm vanished. "Open a channel," he ordered. Maya tapped the console. "This is Vega 12 Research Station. Identify yourselves. You are entering peaceful space." No answer. Repeating, "Identify yourselves." Still silence. The station was not built for battle. They had no shields strong enough. No weapons large enough. There was only one hope, that the unknown ships were passing through. But they didn't pass. They stopped. And then they showed themselves. The Vrax Dominion A message appeared on every screen, not as words, but as a hologram. A tall alien figure, skin dark like volcanic stone, eyes burning red, like hot metal. It spoke in a voice that felt like thunder rolling through the bones. "We are the Vrax Dominion. You have expanded into our galaxy. You have taken resources that belong to us. Your existence is a violation. This is not a warning. This is correction." The hologram vanished. For 3 seconds, the station was silent. Then the Vrax opened fire. The station burns. The first blast tore through the east habitat ring. Glass shattered. Air vented into space. People were pulled out, screaming into the void. Alarms howled through the station. Children cried. Scientists ran. Emergency doors slammed shut. Commander Ellis shouted orders. "Seal bulkheads! Get everyone to evacuation pods." But the station was shaking apart. The power flickered. Floor panels sparked. Shields at 18%. "Life support failing. This section is collapsing." No one had time to think. No one had time to breathe. Death had arrived too fast. The last message among the chaos. One person did not run. Communications Officer Lena Hale stayed at her console, fingers flying across controls. She did not try to stop the attack. She knew it was too late. Her mission was simple. Tell humanity. Come on. "Send! Send!" she whispered, tears falling. Plasma blast hit the station. The room shook. The message transmitted. The signal burst across space. But just as the confirmation light blinked, green, the wall behind her exploded. She didn't even have time to scream. The station fell silent. The Vrax celebrate too soon on the command ship. Vrax General Korath watched the burning debris float like embers. He smiled, sharp and cruel. "So this is humanity," he said. "Fragile, slow, overconfident. They expand without strength. They do not deserve the stars." His officers struck their chests in agreement. "No retaliation will come," Korath declared. "Humans are small. Humans are soft. Humans break." He raised his hand. "Set course for the next human colony. We will erase them quietly, one by one." The fleet turned away. They believed the war was already won. But the signal arrived light years away. Deep inside Earth Defense Command, screens flashed. The emergency message repeated, "Vega 12 destroyed. Unknown enemy. We need..." Then static. Admiral Reyes stood slowly from her desk. Everyone in the operations hall watched her. She did not shout. She did not panic. She only spoke one sentence. They killed civilians. Silence. Then, prepare the response fleets. Across human space, factories lit up. Warships powered online. Marines suited up. Old alliances awakened. The peace that lasted 80 years ended in one moment. No speeches. No threats. Just one message spreading across every colony. They attacked Vega 12, and everywhere the answer was the same. Then, humanity is coming. The arrogance of the Vrax far across the stars, the Vrax dominion celebrated. In the capital city of their empire, towers of black crystal rose like spears piercing the sky. The atmosphere shimmered with red energy veins, and the ground itself vibrated with the power of their ancient reactors. Inside the Grand War Hall, Vrax soldiers gathered, towering figures armored in obsidian metal that reflected no light. Their movements were sharp and precise, like blades given life. At the center of the hall sat High Overlord Thraxion Vrael, ruler of the Dominion for nearly 200 cycles. His eyes burned a deeper, darker red than the others, marking him as one who had survived countless wars. A messenger knelt before him. Head bowed low. Overlord, the messenger said. General Korath reports full destruction of the human research station, known as Vega 12. The hall echoed with a low, rumbling laugh, hundreds of Vrax voices mixing together. Thraxion leaned back on his throne, claws tapping on the armrest. Good, he said. The humans expand without permission. They build where they should not. They deserve to be brought to order. Another officer stepped forward. Shall we send warnings to their home world? The Overlord's laughter stopped. His eyes narrowed. No, warnings are for equals. He raised one clawed hand. We are not equal. The soldiers slammed fists to armor in agreement. The lies. They believed the Vrax had watched humanity from afar. They saw humans laughing, singing, exploring, building art and culture. They saw humans helping other weaker species, creating alliances, making peace. To the Vrax, this looked like weakness. They thought humans were too emotional, too soft, too caring. They believed caring invited defeat. The Vrax believed strength came only from fear, only from power, only from crushing others under heel. So when they destroyed Vega 12, a place of families, children, laughter, they felt no guilt, no regret. They believed humans would cry, hide, and surrender. They did not know humans, not yet. The War Council meeting General Korath arrived in the capital to report his victory. He walked proudly into the Grand War Hall, armor scorched and decorated with battle scars. My Overlord, Korath said, bowing slightly. The humans collapsed instantly. No strategy, no resistance. They begged, they choked, they died. It was almost, he smirked, disappointing. For how long did they resist? The Overlord asked. Korath hesitated. A few minutes. Maybe less. The hall laughed again, deep and cruel. To them, this confirmed everything they believed. Weak, soft, breakable. Korath continued. If we strike their border colonies next, they will realize their weakness. They will surrender their expansion rights. They will learn fear of us. The Overlord nodded slowly. Yes, crush their hope quickly. They will kneel. All species kneel, but in the back of the hall, one Vrax did not celebrate. Her name was Zira, a young tactical scientist. Unlike most Vrax, she studied history, not war. She had read about species who looked weak. Until threatened, she stepped forward. Permission to speak. Great Overlord. Thraxion raised an eyebrow but gestured permission. Zira took a breath. There is something about humans we must not ignore. The hall quieted. They adapt. Faster than any species we have ever faced, Korath scoffed loudly. I saw no adaptation, only chaos and fear. Zira met his gaze without flinching. Very rare for her kind. You saw a small research station, she said calmly. Not their military, not their united response, not their true nature. The Overlord's red eyes narrowed. Continue. Humans are emotional, Zira said. We assume this makes them weak, but emotion makes them unpredictable. When humans lose something precious, they do not surrender. She paused. They change. They evolve. They become something else. Korath scoffed again. Stories, rumors, exaggerations. No. Zira shook her head. Recorded history. There are civilizations humans have fought that never recovered. The hall grew slightly uneasy, but the Overlord waved a dismissive hand. We have crushed empires far older than humans. Let them adapt. They will still fall. The council nodded, but Zira's expression remained uneasy. The first sign of their mistake. Several cycles later, Korath's fleet approached their next target, a small human mining colony. They prepared to fire. But before the order was given, human ships appeared, not hundreds, just 4, sleek, heavy, engine, cores pulsing with a quiet, focused power. No words. No warning. The human flagship sent one message, only 2 sentences. You destroyed Vega 12. We're here to talk. Korath laughed. He ordered all weapons to fire, but nothing happened. His ship's weapons. Systems were dead, power disabled, control stolen. Someone, or something, had hacked the Vrax fleet. And then, through the bridge speakers, a calm human voice spoke. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Korath's smile finally faded. For the first time, the Vrax felt fear. The reputation of humanity, the galaxy had always whispered about humans, not loudly, not in public, but in quiet places, taverns, trade hubs, and war councils. Creatures spoke their names like a warning. Humans, the species that smiled while bleeding. The ones who turned loss into strength. The ones who never knew when to stop old warnings long before the Vrax Dominion attacked Vega 12. Stories had already spread across the stars. A merchant once told how humans settled on a world that froze solid every night. The temperature dropped so low that alien colonies abandoned it within weeks. But the humans stayed. They built underground heat tunnels, shared body warmth, and laughed around fires that burned blue under the frozen sky. When the merchant returned a decade later, the humans were still there, stronger, thriving, calling it home. Another story told of a war between humans and a race called the Skirathi. The Skirathi were faster, stronger, and 3 times larger. But the humans didn't fight them head-on. They learned how the Skirathi breathed, how their lungs processed air, and filled the battlefield with harmless-looking smoke that turned their enemies slow and dizzy. The war ended in a week. The lesson spread quietly through space. Humans don't fight fair. They fight to win. But the Vrax never listened to old stories. They believed the past didn't matter. They would soon learn the past was the warning. The human response after Vega 12 was destroyed. Every human colony went silent, not out of fear, but preparation. Factories that once built exploration drones now built warships. Research stations became command centers. Miners turned their drills into weapons. The words, "Never again," appeared on every wall. Every comm screen, every soldier's armor. In less than 1 month, the human defense network, dormant for decades, was alive again. No one argued. No one hesitated. Even the civilian ships volunteered their engines and pilots. The gathering fleet far above the blue storm clouds of Earth. Space stations lit up as the first battle fleet assembled. Hundreds of ships formed a silent ring. Black, silver, and iron-gray hulls reflecting the distant sun. No music, no speeches, just quiet focus. At the center stood Admiral Reyes, the same woman who had heard the Vega 12 distress call. Her uniform was simple. No medals, no arrogance, just purpose. Transmit fleet order, she said calmly. A voice confirmed. All units ready. Reyes nodded. Then begin Operation Resolve. The stars seemed to shift as the fleet jumped into warp space, leaving behind the blue planet they had sworn to protect. Their destination, the Vrax frontier. Across the galaxy, meanwhile, the Vrax Dominion still celebrated. They mocked human slowness. They joked about the blue-skinned primates who thought they could play in space. But then, transmissions began to arrive. Confused reports from border outposts. Vrax ships found drifting, dark, and silent. Their systems erased as if they had never existed. One message survived from a dying captain. They came out of nowhere. No sound, no signal. Just shadows that moved with purpose. And when they left, nothing worked. Not even the stars. The Vrax Council demanded answers. But no one had any, because no one had seen the human ships. They were invisible, using a new cloaking method that didn't hide them from sight, but from detection itself. The humans had learned the Vrax systems and rewritten them overnight. Fear spreads on the Vrax homeworld, whispers began. What if the humans are not like the others? What if they evolved during war? But the Overlord laughed. Let them come, he said. Our fleets are infinite. Still, one advisor spoke quietly. Overlord, the humans don't fight infinite wars. They end them. The message 3 nights later. A strange thing happened in the Vrax capital. Every communication screen flickered. Every light dimmed. Every power relay failed for a single second. Then a message appeared in human script, translated instantly into their tongue. You attacked our people. You killed our children. You wanted to test humanity. Test completed. It lasted only 5 seconds. Then everything turned back to normal. But in those 5 seconds, the Vrax realized something terrifying. Humans had entered their systems. Their walls, once thought unbreakable, had already fallen. The quiet before the storm out among the stars. The human fleet waited at the edge of Vrax territory. No radio chatter. No visible lights. Only the soft hum of power cores ready to ignite. Inside her flagship, Admiral Reyes watched the holographic map slowly update. A red cluster showed the Vrax Empire. Blue icons began to appear one by one, surrounding it like a tightening circle. Her voice was quiet, almost gentle. They think we came for revenge. They're wrong, her second-in-command frowned. Then what are we here for, ma'am? Reyes turned, eyes cold and steady. We're here to make sure it never happens again. And with a single command, she ordered the fleet to advance. The arrival of Task Force Ironstorm. The stars around the Vrax border were usually calm, dark, wide, silent. But silence is never empty. Hidden inside that quiet space, a fleet waited, not shining, not loud, but still, like a predator in tall grass. This fleet had a name whispered with awe and fear back on Earth. Task Force Ironstorm. It was not the largest human fleet, not the oldest, not the most decorated. It was something more dangerous. It was focused. Every ship here had served in dangerous missions. Every captain here had seen death and lived. Every soldier here had lost someone. This was not a fleet built from pride. This was a fleet built from purpose. The ships that were not supposed to exist. Vrax Dominion believed they knew human military technology. Slow, brute force, predictable. They were wrong. During peacetime, while the galaxy thought humans were relaxing, building art, humans were doing something else. They were learning, studying alien engines, copying stealth systems, taking apart every scrap of war tech found in deep space. And now, that knowledge stood silent and ready. The Aegis Vanguard, flagship. A ship built with layered armor that shimmered like flowing liquid glass. Hard to target, harder to break. The Phantom Line, stealth cruisers. They didn't just disappear from sight. They disappeared from reality, slipping between quantum signals. The Forge Breakers, siege frigates. They did not fire missiles. They fired pure gravity, no sound, no heat, just things, collapsing. This fleet did not scream to announce itself, it whispered, and reality listened. A calm before the storm inside, the flagship Aegis Vanguard. Admiral Reyes stood before a tactical hologram showing the Vrax border. The Vrax territory pulsed red like a heartbeat. Her second-in-command, Captain Jin Park, watched her silently. "Everything is ready," he said. Reyes nodded, but she did not give the attack command. Not yet. She stared at the hologram, remembering Vega 12, a final birthday party someone had recorded and sent home. Children laughing, families smiling, then static, then silence. She closed her eyes once, exhaling slowly. This was not revenge. This was prevention. "Open transmission channel," she said. A communications officer blinked in surprise. "To who, Admiral?" Reyes's voice was cold and steady. "To the entire Vrax Dominion." The message that shook a civilization across every Vrax world. "Screen, military outpost and starport. The same transmission played, a simple image of Admiral Reyes standing in calm silence. No soldiers behind her. No weapons on display. No background of fire or fury. Just a human, looking into the camera. Her voice was gentle. Too gentle. "We know who you are. We know what you did. We know why you did it," the Vrak citizens watching scoffed. Humans sounded emotional, weak. But then Reyes continued. "You think we fight because we love war. You are wrong. We fight because we love what you tried to destroy." Her eyes did not blink. "You believe pain makes us surrender. Pain only teaches us how to win. We offered peace. You answered with blood." The message ended with no threat, no dramatic promise, just one sentence. "We are coming." And then the screens went dark. Not one Vrak citizen laughed. The first contact on the border. Vrak's patrol fleet V-37 cruised on its normal route. The commanding officer was bored. Routine patrols always were. Then all their radar screens went black. Not glitched, not damaged, just off. "Reboot sensors," the officer ordered. "They won't reboot." "Sir," a technician whispered, "status of fleet communications? Gone. Weapons? Gone." The officer swallowed. "What do we have?" The technician slowly raised his eyes. Just one thing. Floating outside the front viewport, like a silent shadow rising from the dark. The human flagship Aegis Vanguard. No engines glowing. No lights shining. Just present, like it had been there the whole time. The Vrak's officer whispered, voice cracking. "Impossible!" A voice came through their speakers. Calm, soft human. "This is your only chance. Surrender. Retreat. Do not escalate." The Vrak's commander, fueled by pride, shouted, "Fire all weapons!" Nothing happened. The ship systems did not respond. The Vraks were not being blocked. Their systems had been rewritten. Human fingers had typed inside their machines. Someone whispered on the bridge. "They were watching us the whole time." The human voice spoke again. "Your war ends now. The decision back on the flagship. Reyes gave the order, not with anger, but with steady resolve. Disable fleet engines. Do not destroy. We send a message today, not death." Human ships moved like shadows cutting through water. No explosions. No screaming weapons, just engines shutting off. Power fading. Warships going still. The Vrak's patrol fleet was left drifting, alive, unharmed, but helpless. The message was clear. Humans did not need to destroy to win. They just needed to decide. The first strike, the Vrak's dominion could ignore rumors. They could ignore warnings. They could ignore whispers spreading through their cities like cold wind. But they could not ignore what happened next, because humans did not send spies. They did not send diplomats. They did not send demands. They sent task force. Ironstorm, and the Vraks finally saw what it meant when humans stopped being explorers and became survivors. The battlefield, the first major clash happened near a star called Alarian 6, a bright blue sun, surrounded by mineral-rich asteroid fields. The Vraks used the area as a shipyard. Hundreds of half-finished warships floated in scaffolding frames. The shipyard commander, Vrak's Captain Sithral, stood with complete confidence. "This time," he said to his crew, "we will be ready." They had reinforced shields. They had triple-layered scanners. They had surveillance drones everywhere. No human ship could approach unnoticed. At least that was what they believed. The quiet arrival. The first human ship didn't appear through warp. It just faded in, like a shape stepping out from behind a curtain. No bright entrance. No flash of energy. Just there. A dark gray cruiser, matte-coated to absorb the star's light. Silent, calm, watching. The Vrak's sensors reacted instantly. Unknown ship detected. "Lock weapons!" Fire. Nothing fired. Every targeting system displayed the same message. Access denied. The Vrak's captain froze. They had prepared defenses against hacking, against EMP attacks, against signal scramblers. But this was none of those. Their systems didn't fail. They were already compromised before the battle even began. The humans had arrived days earlier, invisible, learning every circuit and code. The human strategy from the bridge of Aegis Vanguard. Admiral Reyes watched the shipyard on her display. "Transmit message," she said. The communication officer nodded. A calm human voice played across every Vrax speaker. "We will not destroy you unless you force us to. Lower your weapons. Evacuate personnel. Leave civilians untouched. You attacked us without reason. We give you a chance to choose differently." The shipyard command bridge fell silent. Some Vrax soldiers shifted uncomfortably. They had expected humans to scream, beg, curse. Instead, humans spoke like someone who was already sure of victory. "The Vrax response pride is a dangerous thing," Captain Sithrael snarled, slamming his clawed fist against the console. "We do not retreat from prey." He activated the emergency override, a manual physical trigger that humans could not hack. This brought online the shipyard's planetary war cannon, a weapon built to tear through battleships. Power surged. Giant metal plates unfolded. The cannon aimed at the human ship. The Vrax crew roared triumph. "Fire!" The cannon released, a beam of white hot. Plasma exploded out of the barrel, but it did not reach the human ship. The beam bent, like light reflecting on water, and vanished into empty space. The Vrax stared in.
"Horror! What did they do?"
Admiral Reyes watched, expression unchanged. "Activate refraction net," she said. Human tech wasn't stronger. It was smarter. It didn't block attacks. It redirected them somewhere else. The Vrax had never seen anything like it. The strike that changed the war rays gave her first offensive order, not to destroy the Vrax, but to disarm them. Target weapon mounts. Energy nodes only. No life support. No crew compartments. Human ships moved as one, coordinated like a school of fish. Phantom stealth cruisers reappeared from nothing. Forgebreaker siege ships powered up. They fired silent beams of compressed gravity that cut through metal like clay, removing guns, engines, and launch bays without touching living beings. No explosions. No burning ships. No bodies. Just silence. Sudden, deep silence. Hundreds of Vrax soldiers watched their warships fall still, not destroyed, but unable to fight. One Vrax whispered, "Humans." "They are surgeons, the face of humanity." Reyes opened one final transmission. Her voice was calm, steady, certain. "We are not here to end your species. We are here to end your violence. You will not touch another human settlement. You will not fire on any neutral world. You will not take what is not yours." Her eyes hardened. "If you break this line, we will remove every weapon you own, quietly, completely, and without losing a single life." The transmission ended. Not one human ship moved closer. Not one weapon remained active. They simply left, disappearing into space like ghosts, leaving behind silence and humiliation. The realization, for the first time in their empire's history, the Vrax Dominion learned something they had never considered. Humans did not fight like invaders. Humans fought like people who had something to protect, and nothing in the galaxy was more dangerous than that. Why humans fight, the Vrax Dominion could explain many things: war strategy, weapon formations, planetary control. But there was one thing they had never understood: why humans fight. They thought humans fought for territory. They thought humans fought for pride. They thought humans fought for dominance. They were wrong, and soon, the Vrax would understand something terrible and beautiful. Humans fight for love. The transmission that changed everything, in the heart of the Vrax capital. The Overlord commanded an emergency broadcast. He appeared on every screen in the Empire. "We will rebuild the shipyard. We will reclaim honor. We will crush human interference." But, as he spoke, every screen flickered. The broadcast did not. Switch to human military footage. It played something far worse. Home videos, birthday, candles being lit, parents hugging their children, scientists laughing while drinking tea, kids running through Vega 12's halls, families reading bedtime stories, floating in low gravity, and then the image changed. The final moments of Vega 12. The alarms. The smoke. The fear. Not a single soldier. No weapons. No threats. Only people. Ordinary people, and the Vraks had killed them. The final frame froze on a small girl holding a stuffed toy, looking up at the camera just before the explosion hit. The room of Vraks commanders fell silent. No one spoke, no one moved, no one breathed, because in that silent moment, they understood. They had not started a war. They had awakened a species that fights for their own. Inside the human war room on board the Aegis Vanguard, Admiral Reyes watched a hologram projection of Vega 12's civilian registry, names, ages, faces. Her officers stood around her, silent. The room felt heavy, like gravity itself had thickened. The Vraks. "Think we are here for territory," Reyes said softly. "We are not." She tapped a control. Another image appeared, a young technician smiling at her birthday cake. This was Lena Hale, age 23. Reyes's voice did not tremble, but everyone could hear the emotion underneath. She sent the distress signal. She saved every colony that received it. She died alone before help could arrive. No one in the room looked away. "Humans don't go to war because we enjoy it," Reyes continued. "We go to war because we cannot allow harm to come to those we love." She turned toward the stars, eyes steady. "And we are not here to destroy the Vraks. Not yet." Her officers exchanged confused glances. "Then what are we here for, Admiral?" Captain Park asked quietly. Reyes answered with 3 words. "We are here to teach." The Vraks begin to understand on the Vraks' capital world. Something was happening that had never happened before. Ordinary Vraks citizens were gathering in the streets, not cheering for war, but whispering in fear. Not fear of humans, fear of the truth. They saw their leaders had attacked unarmed families. They saw the humans could have destroyed them, but didn't, and that was more frightening than destruction, because mercy is not weakness. Mercy is control. Mercy meant the humans were choosing when the war would end. The Vraks had lost power the moment they drew first. Blood. The conversation that shifted the galaxy. Xyra, the tactical scientist who warned the Council earlier, requested an audience with the Overlord. He allowed it, curious. She stood before him, unarmed. Her voice was quiet, but it carried weight. "You still do not understand. Humans." The Overlord's red eyes narrowed. Then enlighten. Me, Xyra stepped closer. "Humans are not dangerous because they are strong," she said. "They are dangerous because they do not give up." She let the words sink in before continuing. "Every species fears losing. Humans fear failing the ones they love. That fear gives them strength. It makes them persistent. It makes them unstoppable." The Overlord said nothing, but something in his expression changed. Like a stone cracking. A realization, a fracture of certainty. The child of 2 worlds, back on Earth. Something even more surprising was happening. Evacuation ships from Vega 12 had saved 1 infant. Small baby with bright eyes and a quiet expression, too young to understand anything that had happened. The crew caring for her named her Hope. She became the symbol of the war, not because she represented loss, but because she represented why humans were fighting. To protect the future, to protect the innocent, to protect what mattered. Hope's picture spread across every human colony, every warship, every soldier's screen. Humans didn't chant war cries, they whispered her name, and every time they did, they remembered why they would not stop. The lesson the galaxy never forgot, the Vraks. Dominion believed the humans would come with fire. They prepared for flames, explosions, and destruction. Instead, they faced something far more devastating: understanding. Humans did not arrive to erase the Vraks. They arrived to show them who they had become. The final meeting, the human flagship. Aegis Vanguard entered Vrak space openly. No stealth, no cloaking, no tricks. Behind it, a formation of human ships glided silently like mountains floating through the dark. The Vrak's grand palace opened its gates not out of welcome, but because they no longer trusted their walls to keep humans out. Inside the palace throne hall, the Overlord waited. His generals stood ready, but their posture was no longer proud. It was tense. Admiral Reyes entered with only 2 officers, no weapons, no guards, just presence. The Overlord's voice was low, controlled. "You could have destroyed us." Reyes nodded once. "Yes. You could have taken our worlds. We could. You did not." Reyes stepped closer, her voice steady as stone. "We do not fight to conquer." Silence spread through the entire hall. She continued, "We fight to prevent pain. We fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. We fight because we remember the ones we lost. And we fight so we never lose them again." Her words did not echo. They settled, like weight, like truth. The Choice Reyes extended a small hologram projector. A single image floated in the air, the baby named Hope, asleep and peaceful. The Overlord stared. A child, just a child, no weapons, no threat, only a life. Reyes spoke. "This is who we fight for. If you continue your war, every human will fight for her." The Overlord's hands shook, though he tried to hide it. He had led his people through centuries of war. He had crushed alliances, destroyed civilizations, burned stars. But for the first time, he saw what true strength looked like, not fear, not power, responsibility, the strength to protect, the strength to stop. Slowly, painfully, he lowered his head. "The Dominion surrenders." Gasps filled the hall. Not defeat, gasps. Relief. Because the war had never been about winning. It had been about understanding. The Treaty of Ilarion, the peace terms were simple. No Vrax attacks on human territory. No forced expansion, shared research between species. Open cultural exchange, mutual protection agreement. The galaxy expected humiliation, punishment, revenge. But humans did not demand payment. They demanded growth. The Vrax had expected an enemy. Instead, they found a teacher. The legacy years passed. Human and Vrax children studied in the same schools. Traded games, music, stories. Learned each other's languages. The Vrax city of Obsidian Reach built a statue in its central plaza, not of a soldier, not of a king, but of 2 hands reaching toward one another. At the base was a simple line. Strength is not what you take. Strength is what you protect. The galaxy remembered that line. Empires changed. Borders moved. New civilizations rose. But the lesson remained. The final words of the tale. Whenever a new species encountered humans for the first time, elders whispered the same warning. Do not mistake their kindness for weakness. Do not harm what they love. Do not touch their children. Because everyone now knew the truth. If you mess with humans, you don't face their weapons. You face their hearts, and nothing in the universe is stronger than that. The end. If you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to stay updated with fresh content every day.